It was a mystery at Lake Mead since the 1970s. Nearly 50 years later, the 8 News Now investigators have obtained original documents from when one man disappeared.
8 News Now investigator Vanessa Murphy brings us a story of what happened to Donald Smith.
It was a Saturday in April of 1974. Donald Smith, a 39-year-old from North Las Vegas, vanished during a boat ride at Lake Mead near Colville Bay. Nearly 50 years later, after the dramatic drop in the water level, divers find his remains in the same area.
I think there are a lot more to be discovered.
Larry Millwood owns Third Reef Divers in Henderson, offering training and also guides at different locations, including Lake Mead.
We don't come out here actually looking for anything, but if we do happen to come across something, we'll mark it and then let the authorities know.
He and fellow diver Mitchell Claffey say they haven't personally found any remains.
I've heard a lot of mob stories and stuff like that.
Discoveries they have made include weapons.
I don't think it surprises me with the past that's gone on here.
Turns out when Smith vanished, the disappearance of several weapons also became part of the investigation. Here's what unfolded according to these documents we obtained, some of them handwritten by rangers at the scene. Smith's wife said he left home around 1 p.m. with his boat after drinking, but he wasn't drunk. He had put his shotgun into the cabin of the boat and had also taken his handgun. Two longtime friends said about 2 hours later, while they were about 150 feet away from Smith and his boat, they saw him fall backward off the back of the boat with his hands thrown up. And about 60 seconds later, they arrived at the scene, saw one deck shoe floating in the water, and even after diving in, they couldn't find Smith. Park Service investigators arrived and found no sign of Smith and no weapons on the boat or in his vehicle. Since those two friends were first on the scene, rangers suspected they may know something about those weapons. Both said they were willing to take a lie detector test. Investigators later concluded no one would have been able to hide the weapons since rangers were at the scene. They determined the guns were likely stolen from Smith's vehicle since it was left unlocked and it was a common occurrence here. Divers searched that day and the next, eventually determining the water was too deep. The Park Service didn't have enough resources and the exact location where Smith drowned was unknown. Investigators in the 70s concluded Donald Smith either slipped or was knocked off balance by a wave. And because of the combination of the cold water and the breath being knocked out of him, that's why there were no bubbles in the water and immediately no sign of him.
The National Park Service tells us more human remains have been found at Lake Mead.
On October 17th of last year, a diver found a human bone in the mud near the fuel dock at Colville Bay. Over the next couple of days, Park Service divers returned and found a pair of jeans with multiple bones buried in the mud, along with a wallet and credit cards belonging to Donald P. Smith. The maximum depth reported at the time, 47 feet, while divers in 1974 reported water as deep as 160 feet. It's change Larry Millwood knows well.
With the movement and the water levels coming down, you just never know what to expect.
Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now.